during teaching, ask question at the end of the session only in the chat box. Use hand-free if you are using mobile and headphone for computer use. Feed your ID and password properly with your name and class. Take care of time for attending the class. Home task should be done in your fair copy of the subject as per teacher instruction. If there is any disconnectivity during the teaching, try to reconnect again within 5 to 10 minutes. Today we are working on the chapter number 11. The name of the chapter is Fundamental Concept of Geometry, and few definitions from chapter number 14, that is Practical Geometry. And the main topics which we will discuss, they are definition of basic concepts of geometry and the definition of terms related to practical geometry, especially right bisector, angle bisector, medians and altitude. Let's start with the very first concept of geometry, that is point. As you know, point is the first impression when you touch your pencil with your paper. So the very first impression which is created, that is the point. So point has no dimension. What does mean by dimension? It means it has no any attribute which can be measured. And it is denoted by capital letter. It means point is a very minute dot which can be never seen by the naked eye. Here in the diagram, if you are observing the point, I mention this in the thick way so that you can observe it, you can generalize that the point will be like this. But in real sense, point is not as much thick as you are observing here. So it is denoted by capital letter. Now the line. Line has one dimension, that is length. Means when you will draw a line, that is only measuring attribute is the length. And it is extendable from both sides, means when we draw the line, we have the both side arrowheads. What does mean the arrowheads? It says that this can be extend on the both direction. And it is denoted by using English alphabets. Like here, a line AB. Now the plane. What is plane? More than 2 points joined together to form a plane. As you have already learned in early classes that 3 non-collinear points determine a plane. Means the very first plane in geometry is triangle. And the further example of that are the square, rectangle, pentagon, hexagon. So they all are represent the plane. Plane will be denoted by small letters, English alphabets, as well as it is mentioned by some Greek letters also. Because plane is consist on the line, so it has the 2 dimensions, that are length and breadth. Means in a plane we can measure the 2 sides, 2 attributes by the language of length and breadth. Next is space. What is space? To understand the space, it is important that you know the meaning of the in general meaning of space, that is a continuous area or expanse which is free, available or unoccupied. Means in the world only that portion of the galaxy which is unoccupied by any building, any person, any object, that is called as the space. And in mathematics, the very important tool which is frequently used to measure the space is volume, which we already used to measure that in the early classes. So space has 3 dimensions: length, breadth and height, or depth or thickness. For example, cube, cuboid, cylinder, cone, these are the examples of objects which we use to measure the volume. So after discussing that 2 concepts, points to be noted means the important thing which we must have in our mind while working on the geometry. A point is a subset of line. As you know, line is the set of number of points. So means a single point is a subset of line. And plane is consist of different lines. So a line is a subset of plane. And that plane is the subset of a space. It means space is the superset and then plane, subset of that space, and line is the subset of that plane. And finally, point is a subset of the line. Thus, a point is a subset of plane and space as well. It means all the planes and space are consist on number of points. So, point is a subset of plane as well as space. Similarly, a line is a subset of a space also. Coincident points. What are coincident points? If two points P and Q represent the same location, they are said to be coincident points. For example, if you remember when you were working on the Cartesian plane, we have the order pair. Order pair representing the location of different points. For example, I have an order pair 2, 3 with the name of P, and my friend is having the same order pair 2, 3 but changing the name as Q. So when we both draw that point on the Cartesian plane, ultimately we both will be on the same position. It means we have the coincident point. It is as similar as a same address is shared by the two brothers to the different gathering, and when we will check that, it seems that they are locating at the same position. So means that is the coincident. So coincident points symbolically represent as P is equals to Q, means we are working on the same location by changing their name. Coincident lines. As we have coincident points, so it is possible that when we have the coincident lines, two lines that lie exactly on top of each other. What does mean by top of each other? Means that we have two lines but they are completely overlapping each other in such a way that we can only observe the line which is above to that, because they are on top of each other. For example, in the given diagram, a line AB and line CD, they are coincident. But if we observe the diagram, we are only observing a single line. The reason is that CD or AB are just below to that. It means they both are overlapping each other. So that we say that these lines are coincident lines. Now the postulate number 1. But before discussing the postulate number 1, it is important to discuss what are postulates. Postulates are the fundamental statements or arguments that can be verified by using the logical reasoning. We have enough content in textbook also. You have to go through that and then you will be able to clearly understand that what is postulate. But at this moment, postulates are the statements. So postulate number 1 is one and only one line passes through two distinct points, or 2 points determine a line. Simply, if you have drawn the 2 points on your page like C and D, and when you will connect both of them, you will find only one way, that you are connecting straight away C to D. It means 2 points determine a single line. Collinear points. What are collinear points? As it is clear by the topic that collinear means are points that lie on the same line, whether they are close together, far apart, or form a ray, line segment, or line. So means if the number of points are laying on the same line, whether they are so much close or so apart, but if they are present on the same line, they said to be collinear points. Non-collinear points. Okay, it is clear that previously we have discussed the linear. So now this is non-collinear. It means opposite to that. The points which do not lie on the same line are known as non-collinear points. As in the diagram, you are observing points A, B, C. They are scattered. So they are non-collinear points. Now in the next diagram, you can observe the difference between that. Collinear points in the first line P, Q, R laying on the same line. So they are the collinear points. Whereas A, C, B, P, Q, R, usually they all are non-collinear points. Now the postulates related to collinear and non-collinear points. Postulate number 1. 2 points are always collinear. For example, in the diagram you can see, if you observe A to B, they are on the same line. B to D, they are also on the same line. A to D, they are also on the same line. So these are the collinear points. Whereas C is above the line, so it is non-collinear with respect to A. It is non-collinear with respect to B and D. So A and B are collinear. B and C are also collinear. But A, B, C, D are non-collinear points. Postulate number 2. Countless lines can passes through a point. Lines L1, L2, L3 till Ln. What is Ln? Ln means infinite, immeasurable, right? Are passing through a point O. So it is simple that if you draw a point O on your paper and you start to passes the number of lines on that, you will find that there are so many possibilities that we cannot measure even. We cannot count that line, that how much lines are passing through this point. That's why countless lines can passes through a point. So that is mentioned by L1, L2, L3 and so on. Postulate number 3. One and only one plane passes through three non-collinear points. As we have already discussed that three non-collinear points determine a plane, and very first plane is triangle. So if we want to connect A to B, B to C and A to C, there is only one possibility to straight away connect them. So only one plane can passes through non-collinear point. There is only one passing through A, B and C. Postulate number 4. If any two points of a line L be on a plane, the whole line L lies on the plane. As you observe in the diagram, the P, that is a quadrilateral, it is representing the plane. Line L is the line and the points A, B, the points on the line. If two points A and B are in the plane P, then the line L which contain them also lie in P. Now line segment. If A and B are any two points, then the line segment AB denoted as, you can observe AB and a line on that, is the sets of points consisting of points A and B according to diagram. All the points between A and B, the points A and B are called the endpoints of a line segment. As from early classes you know that we say line segment is a subset of a line and it has two endpoints. It is measurable also. We can measure the length of the line segment, but we cannot measure the length of a line. Opposite rays. AX, follow the diagram. AX array and AY are opposite rays if A is between X and Y. Mainly, how will we define the opposite rays? Opposite rays are the rays that have same endpoint and they lie on the same line. Important thing is that. So in diagram number 1, you can see AY, one of the ray which is extending towards the Y, AX another ray which is extended towards the X, and they both are having same endpoint. A is the common between them and that is showing the opposite rays because they are laying on the same line. In the second diagram, we can see SM one of the ray, SP another ray and SL is one more ray. But they are not opposite rays. Although they are having the common endpoint, but because they are not laying on the same line, so we cannot say that these rays are opposite rays. In the diagram below is that DE, array DE and ED. DE and ED are not opposite rays. The reason is because they both are having the different endpoint. The common endpoint is missing here. So that's why this is also not opposite rays. For the further explanation of opposite rays, we may follow the book content that two rays AB and AC are said to be opposite rays if the three conditions are required for that. They are collinear, they have a common endpoint, and their intersection is the only common endpoint. It means they must have the common endpoint. So means when we find the intersection of that ray, so that will be the common endpoint. In the above figure, AB and AC are opposite rays and they fulfill the above three conditions. Postulate number 6. A line segment can be bisected at one and only one point. Means if we have a line segment, we ultimately have the measurable length. So if we want to bisect that, so there is only one possibility from where we can bisect it. So that's why our line segment can be bisected at only and one point. That is the midpoint of that. This postulate tells that on a line segment AB, there is only one point, say P, between A and B, such that because we are working on bisection, so measurement AP will be equals to measurement BP. It shows that point P is only that point from where we can bisect the AB. Now the angle. An angle is the union of two non-collinear rays having a common endpoint. So by following the diagram, you can see the two arms of the angles are OA and OB, and the common endpoint is O. The rays constituting the angle are called its arm or sides, and the common endpoint is called the vertex, which plural is vertices of the angle. In this figure, OA and OB are two non-collinear rays having one common endpoint, O. OA and OB are the arms of the angle AOB. You may read it as BOA or simply angle O. Now the angle construction postulate. Before discussing that, it is important to describe the diagram first. In the diagram, there is a quadrilateral which is working as a plane. It is mentioned by H. And we have the two arms of the angle OA and OB. These are the OA is the basic ray, baseline ray, and OB is the second ray which we use to draw the angle. And what is theta? Theta is the Greek letter which is used to use the as variable for measuring the angle. So alpha, beta, gamma, theta, these are the different variables which we may use for measuring the angle. Now come to the postulate. If one arm of an angle is along the edge of a half line, it will better if you take your protector in your hand. That will also work as a half plane, because you know circle is also a plane. So your protector, if we ignore the thickness of that, so that will work as a half plane. So just observe your protector also to make sure that you are understanding the postulate of angle construction. So it is saying that if one arm of an angle is along the edge of a half plane, like your protector, the edge of the protector is working as your baseline, one and only one ray can be drawn in the half plane, making an angle of a given measure between 0 and 180. And it is very obvious, whenever you want to draw the angle by using your protector, you require a base ray, and by drawing only one more ray, you are able to draw the different measurement of angle from 0 to 180. In the above figure, ray OA lies along the edge of the half plane H. Then for every theta, such that theta is greater than equals to 0 or less than equals to 180, there is exactly one ray OB. It means by using a single ray, we can draw any of the angle within 0 to 180 in S, so that measurement angle AOB is equals to theta. According to this postulate, there is no angle of 0 degree and no angle of 180. It is also clear from the definition, early definition of angle, that is amount of rotation. So means if we are having 0 degree, it means there is no rotation. And if we have 180, it means we are actually creating the opposite rays. There is no rotation, right? So it is half rotation, but it is not named as the angle. Normally we say straight angle, for that 180 degree. Now adjacent angle. What are adjacent angle? In the diagram, you can see angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent angle. Why they are calling as adjacent angle? Because the angles that have a common vertex and one common R, but no common interior point. What does mean by interior points? Interior point means if you follow the angle KLT, TLM. These are the two angles. But one thing is common between them. Their end point is L, which is the vertex, and one of the R, LT, is common between them. Means when we read KLT, we are using point T. When we read MLT, we are also using point T. So that's why these are called adjacent angle. And interior means there is nothing in between that two angles. So that's why that is empty. Now the angle bisector. What is bisector? Bisector means the tool which is used to divide into two equal parts. An angle bisector is a line or ray that divides an angle into two congruent angles. What is congruent? In geometry, we use in place of equal the word congruent. So in the diagram, you can see the diagram is angle L, K, J, one of the angle, and it is dividing into two parts by a ray KM. It means KM is the angle bisector of angle LKJ. So the whole angle is dividing into two equal parts. Postulate number 11. Unique bisector of angle postulate means one and only one bisector of an angle can be drawn. It is similar to that. One and only one bisector can be drawn from a line segment. In the same way, angle can be also bisect only by using a single bisector. Now the types of angles of adjacent angle. Actually, these are the types of adjacent angle. Complementary angle. What are complementary angle? If the two angles are going to add and their sum is 90 degrees, so they are called complementary angle. So in the diagram you can see the huge angle, the big one angle is dividing into two equal parts. So one of the measure is 38 degree and second is 52. When we add these two measure, we will obtain the 90 degrees. So according to definition, when we add two angles and whose sum is 90 degrees, so they are called complementary angle. Similarly, if we add the two angles whose sum is 180, so they are called supplementary angle. And in the diagram, 128 and 52 are the measure of two adjacent angle, and when we add them, that will give 180, so they are supplementary angles. Supplement postulate. The supplement postulate states that if two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary. Or we can say that the outer arms of the supplementary angle are lie on the same line. So this is supplementary postulate. Now the right angle. If two supplementary angles are equal in measure, then each of them is called a right angle. And from the early definition that the measure of the 90 degree is called right angle. Now the perpendicular. Two lines or rays or the line segment when intersect each other by making the 90 degree on each other, so they are called perpendicular, and it is denoted by the inverted T. In the diagram, you can see the different positions of the perpendicular and they are making the 90 degree on each other. So in the first diagram, you can say L1 is perpendicular on L2. Similarly, L2 is perpendicular on L1. Congruent angles. The angles with the same measure are called congruent angles. Symbolically, that is mentioned by equality, and a wave on that, it is given in your textbook also, is used for congruence. It may be noted that measurement angle PQR is equals to measurement angle ABC, and measurement angle PQR is equals to, that is congruent. Means in geometry, in place of equal, we use the term congruent, are mutually equivalent statement. From the above definition, the following results can easily be deduced Every angle is congruent to itself, as we have learned in reflexive property. All right angles are congruent angles. If two angles are complementary, then each of them is an acute angle. Complement of congruent angles are also congruent. Supplement of congruent angles are also congruent. Vertically opposite angles. The angles whose arms form two pairs of opposite rays are called vertically opposite angle, or simply we can say when two line segment or the rays intersect each other, so the pair of opposite angles are called vertical angles. Now the right bisector. A straight line which bisects the side of a triangle and is also perpendicular to the side is called the right bisector of the side. Actually, these terms are related to practical geometry. You will clearly understand when we will work on practical geometry. But here it is important that just draw a triangle and bisect its three sides in such a way that the bisectors are making the 90-degree on the sides. So it is called right bisector. Bisector of angles of a triangle. A line which bisects the angle of a triangle into two equal parts is called bisector of the angles of a triangle. As we have already learned that angle bisector, so triangle is consist on three angles. So when we draw the all three angle bisectors on that triangles, so that the figure will be like this. Median of a triangle. Line segment joining the vertices of a triangle to the midpoint of the opposite sides are called medians of the triangle. It means when you draw any triangle and you locate their midpoint of the sides and you connect the vertex to the midpoint of that opposite side. So whatever we obtain, that is called medians of the triangle. You can see in the diagram. Altitude of a triangle. A perpendicular from the vertex of a triangle to the opposite side is called an altitude of the triangle. It means we know how to draw the perpendicular. So when we draw a triangle and draw the perpendicular from all three vertices to its opposite side, so diagram will be like this, and these perpendiculars are called the altitude of a triangle. Now come to the home task. Go through the lesson again, that page number 274 to 286. The book content is very important. Read out the chapter carefully and frame 25 MCQs from all the taught topics and do it in your fair copy. So this is from all my side. Keep continue your teaching. Do your home task as per instruction and take care yourself. And follow all the instruction for the next time also, as you need for your working and your understanding. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.